Good morning and welcome to the No Comfort Zone, the show where growth lives, excuses die, and transformation begins. I'm your host, Dan Brzezowski, and today we're going to be talking about breaking limits, building habits, and becoming unstoppable. I'll see you on the inside.
Welcome.
Attention, please.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the No Comfort Zone podcast. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose. Broadcasting to the world from Rockford, Illinois. This is your wake-up call.
Warning.
You are the solutions to all your problems. Stop thinking average. Become the hero version of yourself. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. It all matters. You've entered the No Comfort Zone. It's time for a reality check.
We are back at it again today. So this is interesting. I'm on podcast 554 if my timing is right. And today we're going to be talking about the A in the CASH analysis. That is going to be the acronym CASH, K-A-S-H. We're an A. That is the attitude advantage. The attitude, I got to tell you this. Listen, I'm an emotional guy. And you can have the right attitude and you can have it's a choice. You can have the right attitude, but it's the success and failure. It's how you see things. I'm reading a book right now, The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. It's a wonderful book. It's a long book. I got the workbook to go along with it. That's the time that I spend working on my goals and the things that I want to go, because I'm not even close to where I want to be yet. But I enjoy the journey so much. So I get books, I take workbooks, and I'm constantly trying to evolve. And the first principle is 100% accountability. I learned this way back in selling. No matter what happens, you have to own the outcome. It's not the customer's fault. It's not the manager's fault, the dealership's fault. It's nobody's fault. It is 100% take accountability for everything that happens in your life. And when you take that mindset, even when I was going through the adversities and the problems that I had, I was the victim. It was her fault. It was the mortgage lender's fault. It was the managers for not promoting me. It was their fault for not promoting me and seeing the value. It was BS because I was so successful as a salesperson that they didn't want to promote me. It's the culture of the dealership's fault. You see what a sick mindset that is, that victim mentality. So when you realize I'm not going to cry like a little bitch anymore. I'm going to own my success and my failure and my outcome. And I'm going to start to resonate with success. And I'm going to own everything, success and failure. Man, it changes everything. It totally does. And you could measure your success by your income. You could measure it by the people around you. You can measure it by how you get up in the morning. You could measure it by your purpose. At the end of the day, I look at my attitude. Where is my attitude? Am I having more wins or losses? Well, if you look at failure as success, how can you go wrong? There's something to be learned today. The only way I fail is when my emotions get the better part of me. Negative emotions, anger, rage. Yeah, I experience those things. I lose my control. I get upset, and then I blame it on passion. But truth be told is, at the end of the night, when I go home and I put my head on the pillow, where did I go wrong today? Did I take that person's feelings and emotions into play? Was I mindful of what that person might have gone through? I get upset when they take shortcuts. That's what I manage people. I get upset when shortcuts are taken. But isn't it my responsibility to have a good attitude in that situation? Because can we agree, if you're listening out there, can you agree with me that attitude is a choice? Put things in perspective for a minute. If attitude's a choice and you have control and you're 100% accountable for the outcome, isn't it time that we own that attitude? And can we also agree too, if you want to get out of average or if you want to advance your life and your career, can't you, as the person who wants to be successful, you can't blame anybody anymore. if I literally have on my phone, I wish I could probably meme this or whatever, put it up on Instagram. I gotta spend more time on social. I don't spend enough time on there. Literally in my reminders on my Apple iPhone, the first thing that pops up every day, don't complain for 7 days. And if you complain, you have to start over again. That's from T. Harv Eker's book, The Millionaire Mind. It's in there. It's one of the things you're supposed to do. It's a great book. Get it. It's been on there for 2 years. No shit. But I'm telling you that I do have a good attitude. I always try to find the good in something, but it's not everything to have a good attitude. You have to have a good selling attitude. You have to have a good winning attitude. You have to have a good positive mental attitude. You have to have a good attitude towards somebody else when they fail miserably. You have to have a good attitude when somebody lets you down. David Goggins wrote an amazing book. You got to pick it up. Can't Hurt Me. If you listen to this podcast and you haven't heard of him, Goggins, like Mel Robbins, when she wrote the book 54321, when she wrote that book, I was pissed off because that's the no comfort zone. And then Goggins wrote his book, and I'm like, are you kidding me? These people who are like ultra famous, who have accomplished major stuff in their lives, are stealing my information. I mean, David Goggins follows no one. He's crushed it and like everything. He steals souls for a living. He's the most badass person out there. His book Can't Hurt Me. But you know why he's that way? Here's a quote from him, okay? When you think you're done, you're only at 40% of your potential. That's a quote from David Goggins. A friend of mine who knows I'm the no comfort zone guy kindly told me, you need to check out David Goggins. Who's David Goggins? I started checking him out and I'm like, oh, this guy's just all talk. Man, then I started watching some videos. Then I started checking him out more so. Then I heard other people talking about him, other major influencers talking about him. And I'm saying to myself, okay, this guy's the real deal, man. Then I picked up his book. Oh, there you go. I mean, in his book, Goggins overcame brutal adversity, nothing like I went through. Mental toughness, absolutely reinvented himself. I mean, he just didn't quit. That's one thing, people, you can never quit. I did that last one in the last series. You just can't quit. And you're going to have an amazing attitude in order to conquer. Now, how do you get an amazing attitude? You have to have small wins. You have to have a chip on your shoulder. Goggins definitely has a chip on his shoulder. I mean, there's been memes and jokes out there about he's just upset for being born. I don't think so. I think he's gotten to a point in his life where he just really has to prove himself right. His reason for being here. I'm not speaking on behalf of him, never met him, just watched a lot of his content. A lot of 15-year-olds, my son being one of them. I got David Goggins' book for him to read, and my son is consuming it like crazy. My son's a little athlete, a lacrosse player, a golf player, was wrestling for a bit, very competitive. My son's got a great mindset, but I think there's a lot of people in that group that are his what do you call them? Avatars, his like demographic, and guys like me in their 50s that really resonate with him because he's real. He's authentic. That's about as far as I know him, but I'm not going to speak on his behalf. But I think David Goggins is looking for that place in this world, and he's just going to outdo everybody to prove that he solidifies that's his place in this world, whatever that place is. When I did sales training, I would deal with people that had to deal with negativity and rejection on a regular basis. I don't think car salesmen get the benefit of the doubt. Work long hours, have to overcome all of the BS that comes with the stigma of being a car salesman. And they're some of the nicest, honest, hardworking, want to do well for their customer people. But because of some bad apples or some bad publicity over the years or conditioning, they get a bad rap. Now, here's people that have families that spend a lot of time away from their families and are learning the craft and learning how to be honest and learning how to be transparent, might make a mistake or two and then get called out for it, or have a bad manager or something happened and they're trying to take 100% accountability. Customers don't show up for an appointment. It happens. They miss something with their kids. Whatever it is, it's the business that we chose, right? Like from The Godfather. This is the business that we chose. There's great opportunity in it. However, you got to talk to that person and let them know that, hey, man, you got to keep a good attitude because in the end, it's going to work itself out. There's ups and there's downs in any business. You just have to keep coming back. I would always tell them, listen, you chose this. Continue. It'll get better. Customers are great. They really are. The customers are wonderful. You just have to earn it. And you're going to have to spend some time in it. And you're going to have to understand why customers do what they do because their intentions are good. People are genuinely good. Unfortunately, this customer, maybe something was going on and you have to find that right way and you have to have that empathy. So what I always bring up is imagine being a prisoner of war and how do they survive? Because I've read books about this. Viktor Frankl, he wrote a wonderful book, Man's Search for Meaning. I put off reading this book for so long because it seemed so dark. But when I read it, man, what a wonderful book. And I highly suggest you read this. A quote from him is, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude. That book's been around forever. Never read it, but I would tell people all the time, you know what? You got to have the right attitude. And think of those prisoners of war. Maybe I, got it through osmosis or somebody else said it. But when I read the book, it warmed my heart because attitude is totally a choice. And it's for people like Viktor and David Goggins out there who just find a way in their day-to-day, whatever adversity they've been through, the adversity that I've been through, the adversity that you might be going through right now. There's something to learn in there. And if you could learn in the worst of times how to choose a winning attitude and apply it with the knowledge that you're learning and realize that there's something good for you that's going to be coming because it's not all bad. The pain and suffering that you put yourself through, the pain and suffering that you might be dealing with right now, something good can come of it. However self-inflicted it is, something good could come of it. And if you find the reason, the purpose for that pain and that suffering, and if you could pull that out of it and turn that into something that can help somebody else, to help yourself, to help your family, to help your community, to help your business, to teach somebody something else about your product or service or whatever it might be, you're on the right path. You're finding purpose. The reason I do this podcast and to help other people like you, like the listener, is to get you from point A to point B, out of adversity to average, from average to better than average, from better than average to greatness. And yeah, there's some people that are living in greatness right now, and it warms my heart to know that they chose the right attitude. Some really cool things that have happened recently. Remember I told you about those books? They're on the verge. It's the end of March, and it's going to be exciting when those are launched. I'm super excited about that. These are dream realities that have now going to be reality here momentarily. I'm excited to see what happens. I don't know if they're going to be successful or not. I believe they will. There's somebody that told me recently, they said, this is self-serving, but they said, do you know the people that you work with? Do they know, what you used to do? And if they could sit with you, you're like AI when it comes to sales training. Like they could ask you what to say and there's a word track that would come out. There's like a psychology behind there's body language that you could talk about. There's so much that you could talk about when it comes to the market and the idea and of what and how to sell. And it's so funny because it's not funny, but the harsh reality is that because they're not paying for it, there's not much value there. It's all taken for granted. And a lot of people do that in life when it comes to their attitude. your attitude, don't take it for granted. When you wake up in the morning, affirmations. Start your day with I am a successful, strong charactered, highly successful person with a winning attitude that affects the people around me in a positive way. Start saying these affirmations out loud with your hand on your heart. Start believing in who you are as a person, that you're a creator of a reality around you that's a positive one. You're going to have that winning attitude and have that gap analysis. I know my attitude sucks at certain things and I have to turn it around. And yeah, sometimes you're going to have to fake it till you make it. You can't fake enthusiasm, but a winning attitude, you don't want to have false motivation, but you have to know your shortcomings. And it's okay to talk about it. Hey, I don't have the best attitude right now, but I'm going to work on it. All right? We can maybe work together. And sometimes it takes one person just to identify that I don't have the best attitude right now, but that's where a team comes into play. Because I know too, is that, if you have a spouse or somebody that's willing to work with you, hey, back off. I don't have a good attitude right now. And they back off. Let me know I can help you later if they know how to communicate with you effectively. It's a very powerful thing. There's a lot to be said about what this podcast and what the blueprint can do for you. I challenge anybody that listens to this podcast, whether you're in sales, whether you're in a relationship and you want it to be better, this is a crazy one, if you're burned out in your life or in your job, or you want to turn things around, reach out to me. I'm on Facebook now and I have a podcast. I don't know if you can find it easily or not, but go to the podcast page, the No Comfort Zone podcast page on my Facebook, and check in there, or hit me up, Dan at the No Comfort Zone. Let me see if I can help. Reach out to me, because if you can get your knowledge of what you need to turn things around, and if you can get your attitude, we can start working on the skill side of things. And we can start working on the skill side of things and start putting the attitude and the knowledge in place, and you throw your habits, that's really where the No Comfort Zone blueprint comes into play. There is so much to be said about the attitude. Just by having a positive attitude has excelled me in my sales career. It's excelled me when I was in the Marines. It's gotten me out of so much trouble just by having a positive attitude. I've had such a great time meeting people, relationships with the opposite sex, because I've had such a great attitude. My wife currently, because I have a great attitude. And I'll say this, it doesn't go without saying, is you have to have a kind attitude, a giving attitude, a loving attitude, an attitude of contribution. I could write a whole book just on having an attitude that'll give you so much in your life. Maybe I think it's appropriate if I end on this. Having a great attitude will cause you to have a lot of gratitude in your life. I think that's pretty strong. I don't know if I made that up or not, or if I heard it from somebody else, but great attitude equals gratitude. Because that's what I found out to be true. No matter how bad something's going on in your life, if you can find a way to find some gratitude in your life, it'll increase your attitude. And if you can increase your attitude, it'll increase your altitude. And I know I've heard that somewhere before, but if you can figure out a way how to keep finding better things that are in your life and just be grateful for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, man, you can have so much in your life to be grateful for. And it just brings in more better opportunity for you. It brings in more success. It brings in more opportunity for you to find a better version of yourself. It brings in more problems for you to solve so you can be better. So let's work on that attitude. The best way that I know to do it. Yeah, get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose for sure. But the best way to work on your attitude is by small wins. Get up early. Take the cold shower. Drink the 2 glasses of water. Go for a walk outside. It's getting nice in the Midwest now. Pet your dogs. Spend time with your kids. Get off your phone. Look at all those wins you could have, and that's an hour in the morning. Meditate. Take time breathing in. Work out. Eat a healthy breakfast. Care for yourself. Listen to some good music before you go to work. Check in with your people at work and say hi and good morning and do all the nice things, the pleasantries that you know that you should do. Become a better human being to the people around you and watch what happens. Don't complain for 7 days. Do something really good for somebody else without telling anyone or getting caught. See how you feel about yourself then. Keep passing it along. See what happens to your attitude. Do the no comfort zone. See what happens to your reality around you when you do it for 3 days, for 1 week, for 1 month. Your life is going to change. You're going to start to become successful. You're going to start to live on purpose. So I'll end it at that. Thanks a lot for listening. From wherever you're at in the world, I appreciate you. We keep climbing up the ranks on these podcast charts. Pretty cool that somebody wanted to produce my show and take it to the next level. But I'm going to keep doing it on my own. And I'm super glad to be reaching out to you. And I'm super glad that you're listening. And I'd love to connect with you in some way, shape, or form. Facebook, social media, hit me up. I think I'm still on Twitter or X. I know I'm on there. Just hit me up. Eventually, I'm going to start going to YouTube and doing videos so you can see my smiling face on that. But look forward to the books coming out at the end of this month. Pretty exciting times. Man, those reviews, if you listen to this far, please try to find me on Apple iTunes, Spotify, wherever you can. Share it. But a nice 5-star rating and a review, I would greatly appreciate it. I'd love to get, by the end of the year, 200 reviews on Apple iTunes. It would mean a lot to me. So whatever you can do to help somebody else out by sharing this podcast, greatly appreciate it. But for you, the listener, I hope you're living large. I hope you're living at level 10. I hope you're getting the most out of your life. And if you're not, it's easy. It's really easy to do. Just take a minute, take a moment, realize you are worthy, you are worthwhile. If you could find a way to get a little uncomfortable, today's the day that you can do it. Today is that day that you can get out of your comfort zone. And today's the day that you can live on purpose.
Say goodbye.
Want more of the No Comfort Zone? You can follow Dan on Instagram and Twitter at No Comfort Zone 1.
Bye.
Or on the web at thenocomfortzone.com.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the No Comfort Zone podcast.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.